All right, everybody. It's that time of day. It's that time of week again. We are back. It's Hump Day with Bix and V coming to you live, unfiltered, unadulterated, with no Pizzagate, with nothing. I don't even know what I'm talking about because I'm crazy, Bix. With my main man, Bix Weir, the man, the myth, the legend, the pathfinder on the road to Ruda, the Baron of Bitcoin, the Sultan of Silver, the Gandalf of Gold, the very one who holds who is the actual Lord of the Rings. The men hate him, and the women want to be with him. It's the one and only Bix Weir, and I am the second part of this duality called V, the Gorilla Economist, the one and only, the true majestic ape. I am the Bubbles to his Michael Jackson. With that being said, guy, welcome aboard. What's going
Hello,
on, buddy? How are you?
Good morning. Hey, I saw there's some fire in New York City. Did you see that?
What fire?
Some medical building caught on fire and there's smoke all over the place. I just saw it on the live feed.
Wait, I do smell smoke right now.
I don't know.
My building.
Get out! Get out! They're trying to disrupt our broadcast.
It's funny.
And they should disrupt it after the stuff we're going to talk about today.
Oh, you're already jinxing us. You're already jinxing us.
Everything on the conspiracy side is popping off now, and there's so much going on behind the scenes, and I just wish that we had actual mainstream media that would talk about the real stuff. No,
they're too busy peddling fake news.
Oh my God, this whole thing about the Russian hack, and I mean they're running out of time, and they know that if Trump gets into office and he puts someone in charge of the Justice Department that's going to bring justice, they will hang by the rafters of every hall in Congress, because half of Congress is in on this just sick and deplorable things that have been done. It's beyond treason. It's beyond crimes against humanity. And they know they're going down too. And there's people just running for the hills right now.
Man, they're going nuts. They're going crazy. It's funny to me, bro, that you have the mainstream media that has a 6% approval rating coming out with the fake news label. Like anybody's going to believe them. And worse yet, you have the 4% approval rating government, who's also pushing that agenda as well. Nobody believes you guys. If these guys did this 5 years ago, it would have helped. It's too little, too late.
Well, here's the problem. Nobody believes it from the people we hang out with and the people we talk to. But you go out there to the normal Joe, and they all buy it. They all suck it up, and they have.
Well, in California, yeah. Well, you live in like the capital of Looneyville over there.
That's a fact.
That is a fact, man. I mean, walking here for most New Yorkers I talk about, nobody buys into the crap. I think the last poll they did, I think it's like almost like 60 some odd % of New Yorkers don't believe the official 9/11 story. I mean, so
but what about the others that do? I mean, that's a big chunk of people. That's what is, if it's 40% of what are we?
Well, it's still better than California. I mean, you guys are like 99.99% fake news believers.
I hear you.
I don't know how you live there. I'm trying to convince you to move over here to Nuevo York, the Empire State, and you and I could be drinking dark roast together. We'd be going to Frankie and Johnny's, eating the best food. But no, you'd rather be there because you, my friend, are the leader of the Crips and the Bloods and the MS-13 and all the gang members you're running over there.
No, there are plans. Me and my wife do have plans when the kids get out of the house to
don't tell me you go to Florida.
To jump in a 4-wheel drive RV and travel the United States and live in certain places for a while, and because I can do the road to Ruta thing from anywhere in the world, really.
Yeah, you could.
And when you got an empty nest, it's either us sitting and fighting over who's going to walk down the street and get the coffee, or let's hit the road and see America and have a little meet and greets around the United States, and hopefully we'll be living in a completely different country in the next couple of years.
Yep.
After all this stuff kind of gets opened up. So yeah, I'm real excited about the future, and I'm not absolutely stuck to California right now with kids in school. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck, but yeah, I'm excited about seeing how great the United States is going to be. I know everybody, everybody who doesn't believe that these bad guys are being taken out are, planning to move to, I don't know where they're going to move, to Argentina or something. And
they're going to join Hitler in Argentina.
yeah. Oh man, all that stuff going on at the bottom of the world right now in the Antarctic, unbelievable.
You freaked me out with that Antarctic stuff last time, man. I actually went and took the time, and I was looking at all the stuff you sent me, man. It is mind blowing, to say the least, bro. Mind blowing. It was unreal.
Well, if you believe the conspiracy stuff,
I believe it.
which some of it's true and some of it might not be, and it might all be true. But there is these amazing archaeological finds that are going on down there with pyramids and all kinds of new technologies that will kind of shake the entire globe, and as well as the mainstream religious establishment, who have basically fostered this opinion that we are alone in this world, and there's one God who has taken care of keeping us secluded on planet Earth, and we built the pyramids by building them with.
Listen, man. Listen, they took a whole bunch of
do that today,
dude. They took a bunch of Hebrew slaves. They marched them 1,500 miles away to a limestone and quartz quarry, and they took these 10,000-ton bricks, and
which we can't even lift today.
Well, they did it because they were the chosen people. So the chosen people were able to dance in a circle, do the Hava Nagila Hava. They have the stone rolled all the way to the pyramids. They constructed the pyramids, and that's how it is, man. That's
and how do they explain all the Egyptian artifacts that are found in the Grand Canyon? And if you look at I've done a ton of research into the Grand Canyon, and it's not even a secret, really. At the Smithsonian, for years they had these Egyptian artifacts that were taken out of the Grand Canyon, and even talked about it. And this guy G.E. Kincaid and S.A. Jordan worked for the Smithsonian. They moved into the Grand Canyon right around the time when they found the gold.
Yeah,
these massive gold finds. That's exactly. And in 1919, Woodrow Wilson, the guy who signed the Federal Reserve Act,
our greatest president ever,
cordoned off. Well, he had to. If they were to introduce hundreds of millions of, let's just say millions of tons of gold into a system that only had 100 million ounces of gold, it would have destroyed the economy back in early 1900s is when the gold was found. But the article on the front page of the New York Times announcing this gigantic gold find in the middle of the Grand Canyon came out in 1912, and then in 1913 is when Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act, giving the banksters the right to control this massive problem of way too much gold that was found at a time when gold was money. So I've been digging into this stuff, and if you go to the Grand Canyon, they don't even hide it. Some of the biggest mountains there within the Grand Canyon are named, like there's the Isis Temple, the Tower of Ra, the Tower of Set, and the Zoroaster Temple. These are all names of these things that look like pyramids within the Grand Canyon, and they were named by the Hopi Indian. That's the amazing.
No, really?
So the Hopi knew about all the Egyptian names of these gods, and this is back in 1913. It's just amazing, and you're not allowed to go into any of these places. I think I told you before. I know a guy who, a close friend of mine, shall we say, on the internet, who's been there. His dad worked for the military, and they were actually on a fishing trip, and his dad was all into Egyptian artifacts. He worked for I don't know if it was the CIA or he was like in intelligence, and they're going on a fishing trip, and this guy, my friend, this guy I know, who everybody knows but I can't say his name, they were going down, and all of a sudden they were stopped by these guys, middle of nowhere, going down. I think it was the Little Colorado River or something near there, and these guys with machine guns come out of the blue onto the banks and said, bring your boat over here, and they took him to this military base within the Grand Canyon. He saw a lot of the what are those big tower-like things?
What the
The big phallic symbol, like the Washington
oh, the
Monument.
obelisk, obelisk.
Obelisk. Yeah, you
Yeah.
saw like dozens of obelisks being lined up, and it's all true. But it's all part of this kind of
I mean, they have like
fake
cave cities
history.
and stuff there. It looks like.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff within the Grand Canyon. Tunneled cities that supposedly the Hopi call them the ant people. Like tens of thousands of ant people lived in there, and they're all man-made. But you're not allowed to go in there. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not, even though they put it on the back of the $1 bill. They have a big Egyptian pyramid still on the back of the $1 bill. It's just a sign that there is something going on within the Grand Canyon. It has to do with the gold. And then now supposedly they're finding these pyramids that are vastly larger than the pyramids at Giza, and they're finding them in the Antarctic. It's just insane what our history's been hidden from us. We have
Oh,
no idea who we
completely.
are or where we're from, and how we fit into this model. And but that's all breaking down now, and it's good that it is. It's time. We're old enough to know the truth about who's controlled us all these years, and how far our history goes back. So I think it'll be really interesting, and just going forward, it's just I, I can't even start to express how excited I am about all these secrets being revealed, and people knowing what we kind of had hints about for all these years, especially about our monetary system and how controlled it is. And the Fed decision is coming up, in an hour, doesn't make a lick of difference when you think about who really controls this monetary system, who controls the stock market, who controls the price of gold and silver, all done out of the basement of the Treasury and the New York Fed with a single computer that you can click a mouse and set the price of the Dow to 20,000, which I think that's their plan by the end of the year, to hit that 20,000 mark and then have the chaos
That's
on top.
right, brother. We're going
So
to
yeah,
Dow 29,000, baby. I'm making the t-shirts right now. The coffee mugs are getting ready. It's gonna be like the go-go 90s, man, up until this thing goes pop. Ride
it's
that market. Ride it.
the insanity of the entire concept of electronic money and electronic assets. I mean, it just blows away. People thought that paper money was crazy. Now you have electronic blips that
Yeah.
that can be created with an extra zero turns $100 billion into $1 trillion. That's an extra zero with the click of a mouse.
It's
The
it's
insanity is and it's so out of control behind the scenes now that every country in the world is creating fictitious assets and using them because they know the United States has been doing that forever.
right.
The 20 trillion in debt is not 20 trillion. It might be 20 quadrillion. Nobody really knows because nobody really cares, because it's those who control that, the Fed and the people who control that monetary system. Those are the ones who can lie the most, because
All right.
they're the ones checking themselves.
So, what do you think about rigging the Dow to 20,000 by January 1st, 2017? Is there any
I think that
significance to that?
Yeah, I think it's been planned for at least since 2000. Well, in 2008, they tried to take the system down. They, meaning the good guys, they tried to take the system down, but the people weren't ready. The people basically voted for a bailout of the banks, and they needed $700 billion. Now it's going to be $20 trillion that the banks need during this next crash, but the next crash is going to be 50 times bigger. And because they want to destroy the system, now is the time for the United States to. Otherwise, we'd lose this game. Everybody will go, to the Silk Road, and they'll go east, and all this time we spent building up this edifice to reality would be wasted. Yeah, we built all these massive amount of houses and properties and money spent on the military, and it's been a blast, but it's over.
Mhm.
And the plan was always, in the road to Ruta theory, that what Ruda writes in the sand is a formula from the 1960s called "On the Road to the Golden Age." And it's a Nobel Prize winning economic formula that basically says, in order to return to a gold standard and sound money, you should first print as much money as you possibly can to infinity, if possible, and then destroy the system, because you're going to suck up all the benefits of the unbacked fiat money. And that's kind of that's what the conclusion was. And then Alan Greenspan wrote the paper that is it's his thesis from when I think it was New York University or somewhere there where he got his master's or his doctorate. And his doctorate thesis was called The Road to Ruda, the road to Root A. Root A is a computer term. It's the basis of all money, of all electronic money. It's called Root A in the basic programming language.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it all stems from. And that's where we're going. But the end game is very clear. In the Road to Ruda documents that came out of the Fed Boston, the end game was to print as much as you can, but then destroy the system and return to a gold-backed system using the gold in the Grand Canyon. They even show this golden light coming from a canyon. And this is called coming out of the Fed Boston. I mean, wow. I'm not making this stuff up because it's fun to create a scenario. This is coming out of the Fed Boston, and you can see the comic books and the documents that I talk about. I'll just go to my website and there's a explanation video. But this is fact. It's not fiction. I'm not making this stuff up, and it's not taking any kind of outside savior. This is the people who are going to save themselves. We are going to save ourselves from the bad guys that control us now. And I think behind the scenes, the Trump victory was part of it. It was their way to do it, keeping the system together without like crashing everything. But Trump has been saying it, and I think everybody believes it, that the system is way, 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 way overblown, and it has to be taken down completely. Whether or not it happens before Trump or after Trump, I don't know. He has the power. The president, U.S. president, has the power over the Exchange Stabilization Fund, which is the fund that you use to rig the markets, and it's done out of the U.S. Treasury and the Fed Boston. But the president's working group are the people that kind of decide where to go. And that also includes the head of the SEC and the head of the CFTC, because they have to run cover for the market rigging.
Right.
So it's all coming apart now, and everybody's saying, well, what's the day? When is the day that the system's going to fall apart? And should I short the market? That's the one that cracks me up all the time.
No, you're going to lose your shorts.
you short the market. You're betting that Jack Lew won't click that button and make the Dow go to over 100,000. That is not a bet I would want to take. The only way to survive this game they're playing is to get physical gold, silver, and Bitcoin out of the system and into your own hands. No third party between you and your metal or you and your Bitcoin.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's pretty interesting now. We had a component of the Cocaine Import Agency, also known as euphemistically known also as the Central quote unquote, and I do mean quote unquote, intelligence agency, putting out this ridiculous charge of Russian hacking with no evidence, even though 16 out of the 17 intelligence agencies in the United States all stand by the fact that they do not agree with the CIA at all, that there's no evidence whatsoever. Now, this politically and politicized faction of the Cocaine Import Agency, with Trump taking the reins of the ESF, and the ESF being one of the ways that intelligence operations are run specifically with the Cocaine Import Agency, I am willing to wager that this politicized crazy arm of the Cocaine Import Agency will be left to wither on the vine.
I agree. I think they will be part of the draining of the swamp, and that swamp is this gigantic. Imagine half of Congress being gone.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's how deep that swamp goes. So, it's problematic.
Beautiful.
It's problematic with, you can't. What they're trying to make is a smooth transition out of the bad guys and into the good guys controlling things. The problem is that because the bad guys have been in control for so long, the entire system and apparatus is built around their
corruption,
the corruption, but also the infrastructure of how our system works. And to pull that away, to remove it, to drain the swamp means everything's got to fall down. Which means Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, you name it. the stock market, the bond market, it can't function without the bad guys in there because of the rehypothecation that's going on. I mean, every day on the stock market, there's over, I think it's 100 or 200 million shares are failure to delivers, meaning no money is exchanged and no, you buy your money in, you buy your stock at Schwab, and they don't go out and buy your shares. They don't. No. They take the money and they gamble it. And if you sell your shares that they tell you have, they just give you the money. And as long as they have the money, that's fine. But the moment they don't have the money, even those people who got stock certificates aren't going to, who would honor that? If one out of every 100 people have a real certificate, they're not going to honor that. Not a chance. Sorry, the system fell apart. We're all in a world of hurt. There's no way you can.
Well, you and I both know who owns all the stock certificates, who owns all the bonds.
Whether or not it's the Rothschilds through the Seeding Company, through the DTCC, yep. I tend to think it might be the people that control the Rothschilds.
Oh man,
which is another level of.
And don't tell me
it could be
species of winged monkeys. I don't want to hear that.
Hey, you might want to hear that. No, I think. Well, if you go deep into the conspiracy,
let's just go. Let's go over the cliff, man. Let's go.
They're called the parrots.
The parrots. Now you're telling me a bunch of birds.
No. They're humanoid, but they have been. This gets a little crazy. Let's not go there.
Let's just go. Come on, you already got
the 1970s.
I don't have enough dark roast in my system. Let's just go. I'm feeling a little wild today, Bix. Let's do it. I'm gonna pour myself a glass of what do I got here? Let me look behind where I am. I don't have my Chopin vodka, folks. If you are into vodka and you love a nice, smooth, clean finish, I do recommend Chopin. It is quite delectable. There's a shameless plug there. All right, I got my bottle of water. Let's go.
All right, now I didn't believe all this stuff for a long, long time until I got these night vision goggles, and I can look up in the sky almost every night and see intellectually controlled, man-made or someone-made flying spacecraft in the upper atmosphere. I can see them. The triangle craft that all the conspiracy guys talk about. Yeah, they're there. I've seen them with my own eyes.
Right.
And my wife and my friends have all seen it. My kids have seen it. They're like, "What is that?" I go, "You know what? I have no freaking clue, but I know it's not an airplane, and I know it's not a satellite because it's going way too fast, and it can turn on a dime, and there's squadrons that fly overhead, and it's way the hell up there, far higher than a normal airplane can go." So I've seen this stuff, and that gets into this secret space program that Catherine Austin Fitts talks about all the time. The breakaway civilization that basically started about the time of the Nazis and when we got the Roswell technology and all that. This is going down this rabbit hole that I don't have all the answers to, but it interests me because I have been a witness to some stuff. And in my new report on the World in 2015 article, or the Economist magazine, if you look at the cover, the tarot cards and all that, there's a pyramid right there connected to all this stuff. And my full analysis of it is that there is a takedown happening in 2017 of the bad guys. I think the trip by John Kerry to the Antarctic on election day was the final kind of sign over of power. And he, as soon as John Kerry came back from the Antarctica, he went right to the Pope to explain. And I have video of him telling the Pope, he's like, "You do understand what's happening, right? I was told that you understand." The Pope's like, "Yeah, I understand."
What?
Yeah. In my new report, my analysis of that Economist magazine, I have the link to the video of it. And this is all happening. All this crazy, weird conspiracy stuff that we were not allowed to know about, and we're told, it's a conspiracy theory. All these years, a lot of it's true, and a lot of it's breaking down. And we're going to know a hell of a lot more at the end of 2017 than we ever did in the past. about our future, about our past, especially about the religious structures within the United States, and about how far intelligent civilizations go back on Earth. I mean, all this stuff is going to come out over the next 12 months. And that's the insanity. And it says it right on the cover of the Economist magazine. Everybody was saying, oh, look at, there's the death card and there's the tower card imploding. I go through every card, and I had to learn tarot over the past month, which is really interesting stuff because, you know, the death card does not mean everybody's going to die. It can, but it can also mean a death of a built up ideology. It can mean the death of the economic system. It can, all that stuff is another way to look at it. And the way these cards are laid out on the cover of the magazine is very specific as to how the tarot readings work. And it ends with the star card, which is like probably the most joyous, wonderful card to put into the future. And yeah, this is the Economist magazine, who for the last 2 years have basically put on their covers the false flags, the Paris bomb or Paris massacre at the theater, the Baclan Theater, and then before that or after that, it was the false flag at the gay nightclub in Orlando, and both those are on the cover of the 2015 and 2016 World End magazines. And this one, and if you open up the magazine in last year's magazine, they have a calendar with just insane stuff on it. Arrows being shot, and I did an analysis before the year, and like 3 of the 4 things I predicted came true. The murder of the Joe something, and the it's not the prime minister, it's the parliament member in the UK.
Joe Cox.
Yeah, and all this stuff, it was on that calendar, and this year's calendar is just everybody hugging, everybody happy. So yeah, this is all happening, and it's being told to us in this Economist magazine. You know,
which is owned by the Rothschilds.
It's owned by the Rothschilds, yeah. But there is also an article inside this year's magazine that talks about, oh no, we didn't know anything about those past conspiracies. That's just conspiracy people saying that. You know, our magazine has nothing to do with knowing about false flags and everything. And then so now it's all happy-go-lucky. Yeah, here's a great vision for humanity in 2017. But it does start with the mass destruction of this current systems. And then the death card is right in the middle, and it might mean some Earth activity in the United States, in North America, which I think is happening. Yeah. And if that happens, we could have nuclear problems with the nuclear power plants that we, in all our brilliance, built on these major riverways in the middle of the United States, thinking that river will always be there, not thinking that, might get diverted, and all of a sudden you have no cooling water for the nuclear power plant.
Right. I mean, we have a beautiful nuclear plant over here in New York called Indian Point, and it's wonderful. It's right on the Hudson. So
I thought they were shutting that thing down. Wasn't it having problems?
It always has problems, man. The thing is always leaking. It always has issues. And, I got a buddy of mine who runs security over there at Indian Point, and he's like, everything is fine, as he's talking to me while a cauliflower is a tumor that looks like a cauliflower is growing out of the side of his head. Like 3-eyed fish swimming over there. I mean, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I think that's some of the insanity we're going to have to deal with in this transition. But also, one of the cards is called the Magician card, and it talks about basically new technologies are going to be brought forward in 2017 that are going to blow people's minds. Things that have been hidden from us, which is really exciting because that's exactly what we need, because our system is falling apart and we're going to have to figure out a way to go forward. And I think Trump has, he obviously knows about it. He knows, what the good guys know. There's a really interesting article that came out in the BBC a couple days ago that apparently Obama told Trump something, a huge secret that Trump basically said nobody's supposed to know about this. But that's all it said. let me. I can find
The fact that he and Reggie Love are getting married after they leave office.
Oh well, I think all the bad guys are gonna be flying to the Kinley Islands somewhere down by New Zealand when all this goes down. So
Oh boy.
there's gonna be a lot of flights out of the United States. All right, I'm gonna find this because I put it in.
Yeah, pull it up, man. Pull it up.
I put it in the Friday road trip.
I'm fascinated to find out what was exactly was mentioned.
Yep, me too. Hold on, let me check here. All right. Still looking. Okay. It's BBC in the world section. Let me get the. I'll send it out in an email. So everybody who's not on roadtoruta.com, put your email address in the email section. You get free emails. And this is a BBC news article. It says, what is the, quote, big problem Obama supposedly shared with Trump? And it says, Donald Trump said Barack Obama told him about a, quote, big problem for the U.S., but he won't say what it was. What could it be? Quote, I was actually surprised a little bit, said President-elect, while telling New York reporters about his private conversations with the outgoing White House incumbent. He said they had discussed, quote, a big problem for the country, but refused to be drawn on the issue, telling journalists, I'd rather have you ask him. So which big problem do we want to talk about? Is it the problem of, the economy has been propped up by the Exchange Stabilization Fund and it's about to fall? Is it the problem that the pedophile ring that runs rampant through Washington, D.C. is about to be exposed to the mainstream?
Sure.
It could be 50 million things. Is it that the discovery is that he sent John Kerry to Antarctica on the day of the election because of the discoveries that are going on down there? That's what, obviously, I think that's what it is, because sending the Secretary of State to Antarctica on the eve of the biggest election in the history of the United States tells you something gigantic is going on down there. And Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, was down there too.
Didn't he die?
No, he got. Wait.
Oh, that was John Glenn that died. I'm sorry.
John Glenn died. But Buzz Aldrin had to be medically evacuated from Antarctica to New Zealand because of health issues. I mean, what's this 85-year-old guy doing in Antarctica in the first place? It makes you wonder.
Exactly.
But the funniest part of that story, and this is true according to all the news coverage of it. When he got there, the attending physician was named David Bowie. This is not fake news. Isn't that awesome? Ground control to Major Tom. That was a great thing, and they're all laughing about it. But yeah, what's an 85-year-old guy doing going to Antarctica unless there's something huge going on down there? And there is. And the talk is they found these massive pyramids. They've found all this new technology. This will change the world. If you believe guys like David Wilcock, the bad guys, the pedophiles and all those guys are going to use this as a distraction to distract from the kind of mini disclosure of life before humans on Earth, and they're going to use it as a distraction to get away from the prosecution of the the Pizzagate stuff.
You know what? I was just talking to W a few days ago, and he's made some incredible disclosures to me about the whole Pizzagate thing. And when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it's gotten worse. I'm going to probably have him on Friday night. I got to connect with my producer CJ.
It goes so much deeper. And
dude, it's disturbing.
It's the worst you can think of.
Pedophilia is not even that's not even the tip of the iceberg, man.
Nope.
It's not even the tip of the iceberg. And what he's told me, I was like, you need to come on and you need to talk about this. And then he had to get off because I heard a predator drone in the background. I was hunting again. He had to disappear back into the Alaska woods. You know.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, yeah. You go down that path, and it's like, yeah, you get into ritual sacrifice, selling
Oh,
of
dude,
body parts,
it's even worse than that.
and the meals that were made, that were being made from human beings.
Yes, that's part of it.
Yeah, it's
Cannibalism. I mean,
it's
that's why
bad.
Hillary's looking like she got kuru.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. I don't.
All right, look, we're not going
I've
to talk about
stopped talking about that because it's so freaking disturbing.
it.
And
It is.
the New York, apparently it's the New York Police Department that is not going to drop this.
No,
They've
NYPD.
done,
God bless those guys.
yeah.
It's that. See that. That's why you got to move out here. See, New York is liberal enough socially, but conservative enough with everything else that it's like the perfect mix, man.
I hear
You
you.
know,
I love New York. Don't get me wrong. I
New York
could
is
never
great,
live
man.
in New York though.
Like Cali. It's just like you gotta. There's a lot of
We
pansies and
got
lefties out
we
there.
got open spaces for the antelope to roam, and the snowflakes can fall lightly and land on the ground.
Hey man, we got rolling hills up here, man. It's wine country up here, man. You just come out, go to the Hudson Valley, and
All right.
it's pretty cool. I mean, it's beautiful. I
Hey,
love it out
I'll
here.
let you know when the Road to Ruda road trip gets on the road and
Let me
starts going
know,
down.
and I will do a live show because I think hopefully this spring we're
Are
gonna
you
be
gonna
having.
wear like a V for Vendetta mask because no one knows
No,
what you
no,
look like?
I'm actually going to show my entire face so people get to
Oh, aren't we
see
lucky?
what I look like. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a live show. Yeah, man, we're gonna do because me and the guys were thinking about doing this like last summer. We're like, yo, we need to come out. So I'm waiting for like spring. We're gonna probably do a big event. The gorillas.
You can't say come out when you're talking to someone who lives near San Francisco.
That's true. That's true. Oh, he's gay. I always knew that big hairy beast is. Oh, I always knew it. I mean, all these monkey references. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, that'll be a well watched show. I think.
Let's do it. Hell yeah. I think we should do this. Let's do Roto live from New York.
Okay.
Um, we'll do it right there in Times Square, right in the open. We'll get permits. We'll do the live show, springtime. We'll air it live on YouTube. It'll be you and I.
We'll
It would be
interview people
that
as
would be
they
an
walk
event.
down the street. Yeah, say, hey,
Yeah, just like random people.
what do you think about our monetary system?
Exactly. Exactly. And it'll be great. It'll be Bix and V on the street of New York. And it'll be great. I won't wear a mask. I'll be, right in the open, and then people will know who I am, and you know, and all that other good stuff. So it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. I mean, because we were planning on doing this about a year ago, and I said, okay, let's just wait until spring because I have like my work related things that I have to clear with the companies that I'm working with to make sure that it's cool that I'm able to come out of the closet. I mean, come out of
That's the problem. When I was in finance, I was doing this on the side,
Yeah.
and all my the senior guys above me were like, dude, you can't say that stuff about JP Morgan. We do
No,
business with them and all
exactly.
stuff.
Exactly.
So,
I don't want
I probably quit, and I was done with it, and yeah, I'm much happier now.
exactly, dude. Totally. People like, well, they don't understand the corporate ramification. Like my partner CJ, he works for a major bank. He comes out, my producer, he comes out, he's going to get whacked in 2 seconds.
Well,
Get fired.
you'd think that, and I've been all over the internet for years and years, and still the senior guys at the finance company I worked at didn't know I was doing this until I said I'm going to go off and do my own thing, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? Who are you going to go work for? I go work for myself. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you're doing that. Because these people are in their own insular little bubble of, they deal with other bankers, and other bankers don't know what the hell's going on.
They have no clue, man. They have no clue.
Yeah. Hey, before I forget, I need to plug my new report, The World of 2017. I've been plugging it all along. But it's $15. Go to the website. It's a very top thing. I'll put a link on it. There's a link there, and it analyzes the cover of the Economist magazine, the tarot cards. I'm not a believer in tarot, but the Economist is apparently, according to what they put on these cards. And just one card, my favorite card is the third card in that thing. After there's the first card is the tower getting destroyed, is all about disruption. And then you got the judgment card with Trump sitting on top of the world, which is really cool. And I do a full analysis of every card. But the third card is called the World card, and it's got a picture of the Federal Reserve Bank, the U.S. Congress, and a pyramid all linked together with gold lions. And then right above Congress is a framed picture of a canyon in a gold frame, as in the Grand Canyon. And then there's the gold masks and the president's, what's it called? The President's Book of Secrets. You ever heard of that conspiracy? There's a
What?
picture.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, there's
What
a
is it
picture in that
exactly?
book. It supposedly there's a book that can only be seen by the the sitting U.S. president, and you can't make copies of it. The sitting U.S. president and the head of the Library of Congress, because if the president's killed, you got to have someone who knows where the book is and things like that. But it's got all all the secrets from America, who killed Kennedy and all that stuff, including the gold found in the Grand Canyon, the idea behind unbacked fiat money, how we had to do that in order to save the monetary system. But it's got a picture of that book, and they talked about it in the you ever see that movie National Treasure?
Yeah,
With
love
Nicolas
it.
Cage. The second one. The
That-
second
I-
one is the Book of
that is-
Secrets, and they go into the Library of Congress and they find it and all this stuff. Anyway, the book looks exactly like the one they had in the movie. But the world card it's all about solutions, and this is in all of tarot. So this is the pictures that are on this are specific to what the Economist wants to say. But the world card in general and other tarot decks represents the integrating balance and finding a beautiful solution to monumental problems. And if that isn't needed in our monetary system, I don't know what is. So if you look at it, there's gold all over that card, and the only in my report, I analyze all the stuff about the pyramid on the back of the $1 bill and why it's there, and pyramids in the Grand Canyon, the connection between that. There's also a book right up on top. I didn't talk about it in my report, but I think it has to do with these secret codes that Neil Keenan was all into, and he had these books of secret codes for our monetary system. I'm not sure about that. And then there's a framed picture to the top left. I don't know who that is. I've been racking my head trying to figure out what. I kind of get the rest of the card, what they're trying to say about our monetary system and where we're going. And you notice that if you look at the canyon, the framed picture of the canyon is right in the center of that card, and it's in the gold frame. But there's a guy on the top left. It might be Woodrow Wilson, when he, because he's the one who signed over the monetary power from Congress to Congress did it too, but Congress to the Federal Reserve by the creation of the Federal Reserve Act. So it might be him, but I'm not sure on that. And then you have the gold sun and all that. So yeah, really cool report. And I analyzed every single card, and it's really I didn't think it would be, but it's a very positive message in the end. But we're going to have to go through hell and back to get there. Hell and back meaning literally the destruction of the monetary system, I believe, is what they're saying with that first tower card. Because that first tower card there's like 8 cards. The first one, the tower card, has the lightning splitting the building or the tower. It might also be, and then you have the Catholic. There's a cross in the back on the right, and then a Russian flag on the left. The head, here's this, we're getting down that conspiracy route again, but the head of the Russian Orthodox Church and the head and the Pope they're like enemies, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the whole Constantinople Vatican split.
Yeah. So they, for the first time in 1,000 years, they met and had a discussion and hugged each other, which was really bizarre. And this is weird. But even more bizarre is the guy's name's like Kroll or something, the head of the Russian Orthodox Church. Anyway, he went to Antarctica this year for a blessing. It's like the Pope going to Antarctica. So yeah, it's all represented on that tower card. You have both sides, and then you have the splitting of the tower, and it's all about immediate change and sudden change. I think that's where we're getting into. Right around between now and when Trump gets in, or right after Trump gets in, we're going to see this massive upheaval of everything, of the entire system. Now, if they take Trump out before he gets in there, I think it will happen a lot faster. I think they'll say, well, we tried to make this smooth transition, but they didn't want it, so here's a little dynamite for your uh, derivative bomb to set it off, because these bad guys are basically they're basically on the ropes. They either have to back down willingly, or they're going to be taken down.
So, what do you think the status is between the bad guys and the good and the good guys, the forces of evil versus the forces of good?
Well, supposedly treaties have been signed, and transition of power documents were signed down in Antarctica. Now, if you
And
want
that's
to
why
believe it,
Terry was there. He wasn't there for a haircut.
no, he wasn't there for a haircut. So the Secretary of State, he said the official from the press conference that the Secretary of State office gave as to why he was going to Antarctica. It said, oh, he wanted to get a glimpse of the global warming situation firsthand. That was the excuse. And it's such a lame excuse. But the reality is, all this stuff being done in the background is hugely important and will change the way we live. And 2017 is looking like that transition year. Will it free up gold and silver from manipulation, as all the gold and silver people want? I'd say yes, but there's not going to be a market to trade in. You're not going to go, you're not going to know how much gold and silver is worth. If they destroy the system, which has to be done, and the derivatives go away, they can't control the system anymore. So it'll crash, and the markets will shut down. The banks that are fractionally reserved will all shut down, which is every single bank in the world. And then you're gonna have to start fresh, and that's the chaos part of this, as represented in the tower card on this in my analysis. So, yep, you gotta go to my site and get that report. It's
and how much is that report, man?
$15, and
that is $15 well spent. You got to go get
54 pages. Yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
You got to open your mind a little bit, and it's the first thing I say, because tarot, which I learned in my 1 month intense study session.
I keep thinking about the root vegetable every time you say tarot. Go ahead.
Well, kind of. Tarot cards. It's all about the interpretation. Like the cards have meaning and significance on kind of an overall level, and then each deck is different, and it's all about your interpretation, the reader's interpretation of how that card answers the question that you posed. And I believe the question posed by the Economist is, what will the world be like in 2017? And that was their rendition of what it will be like. And it's really, really interesting, because it really does start off with insane changes and crashing of everything and tearing down of long-held beliefs. And it ends with moving off into the future with hope and a clear vision of where we want to go and where we can go, because everything will change. So yeah, I didn't expect to find that when I was doing the analysis, but that's what it came out to. And I back it up. And I back it up with links, and everybody who's read it so far has come back to me and said, oh my God, I didn't think that at all. And then I read what you wrote about it, and what these cards mean and how they fit together on this kind of, every way, the way a tarot spread is what it's called. The spread is laid out in that world really means you go from here to here to here to here. And then, it's the progress we go through in 2017.
Nice, bro. It's I think people should get not only get the Economist magazine, and then get Bix's report. It's kind of like the decoder ring, that's what it is, like the decoder ring,
Yeah, well, I put most of the pictures that are relevant in the report. But yeah, I get that Economist magazine, and because there's a lot of things in there that kind of help you understand what's going on, like real articles about like people who are changing the world, and what's going to happen in the future. So I'd say, yeah, get the magazine, but get my my analysis of it, and it's all from the Road to Ruda perspective, which fit in perfectly with what was going on here.
Yeah,
we're really getting off the charts in this hump day discussion. We're in the woo woo world, as Cliff High likes to call it.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of woo woo, man. It is, but you know what? Woo woo makes you think a little bit. You gotta open up your perspectives.
Yeah, anybody who wants to see aliens, just come over to my house at night, and I'll pull out the my 3D or not 3D, my night vision goggles, and we'll check it out.
Listen, man. When you do your Road to Ruda tour, when you come out to New York,
Yeah, I'm
you should
gonna
come out
bring
this
those with
spring.
me. Yeah.
Why don't you just come out in the spring, whether you do the Road to Ruda tour or not. Just come out this spring. We'll have some fun. We'll do the whole thing live. We'll do it on the streets of Manhattan, and then nighttime we'll go up to the Empire State. Okay, we'll go to the very top of the
That
Empire
is
State.
too
We'll
much.
put out your
The
what?
problem is there's too much light. You got to
Well,
be
yeah, that's not a good idea. Then
yeah.
we'll get blinded, and I
The
might
night
fall out of the
the night
building.
vision goggles you need the darker the better because it
All right,
picks up
this is what we'll do.
the light.
We'll go up into the Hudson Valley. We'll go to like the Catskills or the Adirondacks.
Well, that
right?
scares me even more. Going, somewhere off the track with you, and might go gorilla on me.
Well, I'll keep you safe from Sasquatch, man. You know.
Okay, I'll bring a bodyguard.
I am the bodyguard. You don't need anybody else, man. You have the ape. It's all good. You can call your gang leaders. You can call your lieutenants from the
really. Oh Lord. Anyway, the Fed is going to announce in what 9 minutes?
9 minutes. Goldman is betting a 25 basis point hike. We'll see what that happens. 9 minutes. Let's just hold our breaths until then. Ready?
Oh my God! What they decide is going to change the world.
It's going to change the world.
So
I say they're not
ridiculous.
going to raise anything.
I think they'll raise the quarter point that the market wants, but it doesn't matter because it all depends on which mouse and which key they're going to click in the basement of the Fed and the Treasury, and the market will go where they want it to go. And everything. Watch, I guarantee you, by the end of the year, we're gonna see 20,000 Dow. That's their plan. At least touch it and maybe fall from there, but they're shooting for 20,000, and that's been in the works since 2008. And they've played this game since then. And that's I think the end of this year is kind of the mark of the end of the manipulation going forward, because I think the good guys want the bad guys out. And
man.
It's clear once Trump got in, it's pretty clear that something's going on.
You know what? They're all quivering. They're all like freaking out. They're all just in a panic mode right now.
Well, they should, because they are going to be subject to the law, and a lot of these people have done some really, really bad things.
I mean, horrible things, man. These are criminals. I mean, the fact that you have Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell that all of a sudden want to run interference for Donald Trump and his tax plans. I mean, these guys are just morons. They're like, well, the government collected record 20 trillion. Government collecting more tax revenue is not a good thing. It is a parasitic drain on the system. Unless you're a leftist.
None of it's going to matter, though. None of it's going to matter when the system falls down. Yeah. When the support for the system is removed, you don't have to tear anything down, just remove the support. And then it all comes down, because all the banks are fractionally reserved. They're up to their eyeballs in derivatives. And the derivative situation is already blowing up. In our banking friends in Italy are having a lot of problems. And that's connected deeply with our friends at Deutsche Bank. And the $16 billion fine that the FBI threw on Deutsche Bank has not gone away and has not been lessened yet.
Absolutely. And it's only going to get worse. What's going on with Monte de Pesce?
Their bailout is now in question once Renzi left, and it's not only in question, they have till Friday to get it done. And now they're talking about partially getting it done and getting a partial bailout. But the partial bailout from the government, the law says, the EU law says that the government has to attack the bondholders first, and they would automatically convert to cocoa bonds, which is the kind of cocoa bond trigger that we've been looking for. So, yeah, it's going to be a partial restructure and a partial everything, but it's going to trigger some of the cocoa bonds, which means everybody who owns cocoa bonds in Europe is going to piss their pants and start running out of the cocoa bonds, probably starting some kind of cascade effect in the bond market.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, brother. We are down to the last 5 minutes, man. Anything else you want to plug? Anything you want to cover? Oh, I forgot to say this. And how did this? I don't know how this blew by me without me mentioning this. Did you see this latest report from the Federal Reserve Board?
The Federal Reserve Board. I have seen so many
Ooh,
reports from the Federal Reserve Board back
you're
when
gonna love
I
this
used
one.
to dive into them. What are they doing now?
You're gonna love this one. The Federal Reserve Board just put out a paper called Federal Reserve Blockchain Paper. Quote, use of banks to conduct payments could become obsolete. A multidisciplinary research team from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, after conducting interviews with approximately 30 key industry stakeholders, including market infrastructures, financial institutions, and other government agencies, technology startups, more established technology firms, and the industry consortia, stated in a recently published paper that although it is unlikely that the use of banks to conduct payments could become obsolete by the use of blockchain technology, the relatively short paper, considering the nature of the study, is more an overview of blockchain technology than any insight on how it can or should be used, with more interesting parts related to the Fed's explanation of the current system. The paper states that payment clearing and settlement processes currently in the aggregate process approximately 600 million transactions per day, valued at $12.6 trillion in the United States alone. They do so through the hub and spoke system, the old spoke system. The hub and spoke system, now better known as the Lightning Network, was introduced to Bitcoin's community by Peter Todd in a highly professional video in 2013 as part of his relentless advocacy to transform Bitcoin's current payment system to one of trusted intermediaries. With its own inefficiencies and added costs, the current financial system enjoys. The Fed, of course, is not interested in any of that, but what they call distributed ledger technology, which they state, quote, in a DLT arrangement, information regarding records of ownership and transaction histories can be distributed across the nodes of the network. Importantly, this distribution is the foundation technology with the ledger transfer histories and ownership positions shared as one common ledger that participants agree is correct. In other words, the Fed is looking at blockchain and Bitcoin and seeing it as superior to the current hub and ball and chain system they got going on right now.
It is very clear that Bitcoin will be part of the financial system within the U.S. after the banks crash.
But no, it's just fake. Bitcoin is not real. It's just fake. It's
Bitcoin's approaching Bitcoin is approaching a really interesting moment. Bitcoin spiked from like $100 to $1,100 back in 2013 or something like that, December of 2013, and the market cap went to like just over $13 billion. Well, since then, and there was about, I think, 12 million Bitcoin that had been mined. Now there's 16 million Bitcoin, but the market cap is approaching that 13 billion again. So it's kind of, and this one's slow and steady because they want, those who control the price of Bitcoin want it to be less volatile. And so those, meaning people within the U.S. Treasury, certain groups who are working for the good guys and advocating that Bitcoin be used instead of the Federal Reserve System. It's definitely, Bitcoin will be here long after the banks go away, and Cliff High has Bitcoin going out, I think, 80 to 100 years. So it's good stuff. And if you don't have any Bitcoin yet, you better hurry if you want to get it before the banks start printing money to buy Bitcoin. Think about that.
Absolutely. That is the next level right there, my man. Closing comments, sir. Anything else you want to cover?
No. Just it should be calm, I think, until January. It's famous last words, right?
Famous last words.
But, I do expect the Dow to hit 20,000 and then drop to maybe 5,000. If it stays together, or the Fed can. It depends where the Fed wants it to go. If it wants it to go to 5,000 and destroy the banks, then they're going to do that. If they want to go to 100,000 to prop up the system for another 6 months, then they're going to do that.
Yep, it's all on them and their algos.
And you don't even need an algo. The algo is buy. You click a button, it says buy everything. and they have
Everything.
unlimited funds. So yeah, that's what's happening.
Absolutely. All right, my man. That is the one, the only. That is another hump day that's in the history books with the one and only Bix Weir. The man, the myth, the legend. The men hate him. The flat earthers yearn to be like him, and the women want to be with him. And I, the majestic ape, we're over and out, man. That's it. That's a
All right.
wrap. All right,
Yeah.
guys.